Talmor, Shishin Magachi. Talmor is my home. My family have worked the land for generations. My gran says the island does not belong to us, but we belong to the island. And we must be ready, for a great evil is coming, and death follows with it.
Listen and subscribe to the latest season of Undertow, The Harrowing, a Storyglass production presented by Realm, available wherever you get your podcasts.
With your long-forgotten name, we call upon you.
We call upon you.
In the words of the unspeakable language, we call upon you.
We call upon you.
By the spilt blood of the wicked, who walk upon this world sprouting the words of false idols, we call upon you.
We call upon you.
On the land of the dead harvest, that which brings the earth itself into your service, Yamal, we call upon you.
We call upon you. We call upon you. We call upon you.
Yamal calls upon you.
The Sprouting, a Call of Cthulhu actual play podcast by Blighthouse Studio. Find us on your podcatcher of choice.
Hey, everybody.
Hello. Just
What?
another episode. This one is called Potential. And Jenny, I think that the introduction to the episode Potential also has a large amount of potential.
It cannot be denied. It bursts at every seam.
We have a really big announcement, one that made me cry before we hit record. So
It's
I had to not hit record, and then I had to take a few deep breaths and then come back to it. So, you know, that's how big of an announcement this is. We are recording our final episode ever live in New York City, Brooklyn, to be specific, this September over 2 nights. So, Jenny, what 2 nights? Tell them some things.
Well,
you know,
Saturday and Sunday, September 17th and 18th, we will be live at the Bell House. On Saturday, I'll be playing a selection of music from the entire scope of the podcast. That's 7 seasons, 8 albums, probably like 160 songs to choose from, with a friggin' band for the first time in the history of buffering.
yeah, it's going to be really special. It's the first full night of music that we've done since nearly 6 years ago, when we were at Brooklyn's Union Hall and did all of season 1 songs. It was at the end of season 1, but like this has never happened before with a full band, and it's also like not happened even a full night of music like this since season 1 of the pod. So pretty excited about Saturday. Then Sunday is when we record the episode known as Chosen, season 7, episode 22, live with some very special guests. We will get many things, I think, stuck in all of our eyes at various points in both evenings. And after all of that, there will be an after party. So after we're done with our live recording, we will basically be turning on some sweet 90s music and dancing and having a good time and celebrating all that we have done together as a fucking community over the past 6 years of this journey. So,
Hooray!
if you're interested in joining us, it is at the Bell House. And I say that again because the Bell House is not huge. It's good sized, but it's not huge. So like, we want you to know that this show will likely sell out. We don't know how fast, but like, you know, patrons, as always, you're going to get first pass at tickets. You're going to get first pass at tickets, and that happens tomorrow, Thursday, May 5th, at 10 a.m. Eastern time. The link to all of this stuff is in our show notes and will be all over our socials today so that you'll be able to find them. But on the Bell House's main site, on bufferingthevampireslayer.com, on our calendar, you will find all the things you need to find. So patrons, tomorrow, Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern, your tickets go on sale, and tickets that are remaining will go on sale to the public at 10 a.m. on Friday, May 6th, which is also my parents' wedding anniversary. So take that.
Oh.
And if you are a patron of ours, just know that you're going to get a big long note from from us today that has all of the details and your code to get those tickets in advance. Saturday, Sunday, September 17th and 18th, New York City. Come party with us. It will be quite epic.
Yes. Just a gentle reminder, we'll also be live taping it up in Philadelphia on June 11th and in Chicago on July's 23rd and 24th. Tickets and event info can be found at our website, as always.
Yes. Hey, it's also a really special episode today because we're joined by a third host. That doesn't happen too often over here these days. Today we're joined by Jessie Blount. Jessie, who is one half of #Ruthless Productions, which you probably have heard of because they are the creators of the podcasts The Gayly Prophet and Escape from Reality, which are about Harry Potter, The Gayly Prophet, and the Simon Snow series. That's the Escape from Reality pod. So Jessie is one half of that team and is with us today. And guess what? She also hosts a patron-only Buffy podcast, so relevant to probably your interests. We had a great time with Jessie, a great conversation with Jessie, and also more information and places where you can find all of those things are in today's show notes.
Yes, Jessie rocks. You know what else rocks? The results of last episode's Sexual Tension Awards. Isn't that right, Kristin?
What was the title of the last? I kind of forget what the last episode was called.
Oh my gosh. Well, the episode in question is called Showtime.
Ah, right. Of course. How could I forget?
Okay. Let me lay this out for you. Let me paint you a picture with my words. Kristin, you noticed a love that dare not speak its name in the last episode, but unfortunately that love only got 12% of the vote. In fourth place, it's The First and Eve.
Yeah, it was a weak showing. That's fair.
Next up, a pairing that really shouldn't be third, and with our listenership, almost certainly would never be third if it weren't for what's coming up. It's Willow and Kennedy with 16% of the vote.
We believe in you guys. You've got this.
Yeah. Just
better
keep
luck
going.
next time.
Mm-hmm. In second place, I'm so happy to see them chugging along with 24% of the vote. It's Xandru.
Yeah, this was the Xandru with the joystick hand, so I did work hard for its money, you know?
Yeah, it sure did.
You know who worked the hardest for his money?
You know who worked the hardest? In first place with frigging 48% of the vote, it's Turrican and Entrances. And Kristin, when I read the intro doc that you prepared, I first read this as Turrican and Entrances. What happened in this episode? Well, I guess I was entranced.
Yeah. I mean, I think that like part of this award should go to you and me and the listenership for creating a Twitter thread of Turrican entering to various music, which really, I think, put it over the top. Great work, everyone.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. Okay. So congratulations, Turrican and Entrances. Your trophies are in the mail. Turrican is a pile of ash now, but I'm sure he'll still appreciate the award.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Two quick things. I'm not going to read an email today because we've got a big, long conversation. And also we had a hell of a lot of announcements. But I just want to let our patrons know that there are a few things heading your way. First of all, this Friday, you'll finally get the mailbag that you've wanted so dearly. So that's exciting. And we talk about a lot of really fun stuff in this mailbag. We talk about the book. We talk about the end of the podcast. We talk about like a lot of things. So that'll be in your feeds this Friday. And then also patrons, we've finished our Firefly watch, but we are ending it with a watch of Serenity that is happening in our Discord on May 21st at 5 p.m. Eastern. And then a reminder that after we finish Firefly with Serenity, we're moving to Yellow Jackets in June.
Ooh, buzz, buzz.
Buzz, buzz. Our first watch along will be Thursday, June 16th, 8 p.m. Eastern in the Discord. Patrons, you'll get a note about all of these details. And basically, we're going to do a watch every other Thursday, and every other Friday, you're going to get an episode where Jenny and I talk about 2 of the episodes of Yellow Jackets that have preceded that conversation. So all of those details to come your way. Man, what an intro. I guess this is what it's like to end a podcast series. You just have a lot to fucking
Everything's
say.
happening all at
It's
once.
all happening. Literally everything is happening all at once. Great.
Hell yeah.
All right, let's get into this episode and find out what Jessie has to say about Dawn not being a potential.
Hello, and welcome to Buffering the Vampire Slayer, a podcast where we are watching and discussing every episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer one by one, spoiler-free, in tandem with my best gal pals from Swing Choir, Angel on Top. I am Jenny Owen Youngs.
And I am Kristin Russo, and I feel like to maintain feud status, I will have to say that I'm a member of marching band in this scenario. This week we're talking about Season 7, Episode 12, Potential. Stay tuned at the end of the podcast every other week for an original song written by Jenny, recapping the Buffy episode we are discussing.
Potential was written by Rebecca Rand Kirshner, directed by James A. Contner, and originally aired on January 21st, 2003.
This is the one where, according to IMDb, Buffy takes the potentials to a demon bar and then to Spike's crypt. Is it Spike's old crypt? I didn't even realize that. No, it's a lie, IMDb. No. Yeah, it's a lie.
IMDb, how dare you?
IMDb fully lying. So I'll revise it for IMDb. Buffy takes the potentials to a demon bar and then to a vampire nest in order to teach them the art of slaying. When Willow casts a spell to seek out the next potential, the spell leads them to believe that Dawn may be a future slayer. This is also the one where we have a special guest.
Hooray!
Hooray indeed.
Woo.
We're joined by Jessie Blount. Jessie, hi.
Hello.
Welcome to the pod.
I'm so excited to be here and to talk about this episode.
This has been like a trio long in the making, I feel like. We know Jessie, and you may know Jessie as one of the hosts of The Gayly Prophet, which is a queer, well, you should describe what it is, but I imagine it as a queer lens on the Harry Potter series. Is that close to correct?
Yeah. We actually say that it's a humorous yet ruthless podcast.
Hell yeah.
Because we hilariously, do a deep dive analysis of each chapter of the books, and we're not afraid to rip it to shreds. Or rip apart the literal ghoul who wrote it. So,
yeah, it's had to be a really great journey. A really great journey.
Something bad that ghoul did.
Yeah, I know.
It's hard. You have to really reach.
You have to really dig on the internet to find out what a garbage fire person that she is.
Oh, Lord. Well, we don't have any experience whatsoever with dealing with problematic creators, so you'll have to tell us what that's like at a different time. But Jessie, that's how we sort of like met you and your co-host Lark and sort of like came into each other's orbits. But do you want to talk a little bit more about the work that you do? Because it certainly does not stop with the Gayly Prophet.
Yeah. So we actually have actually doing 3 podcasts at the moment under #Ruthless Productions. So we have The Gayly Prophet, which is about Harry Potter. We also have a podcast, Escape from Reality, where escape is spelled ESGAYPE, where we are doing a close reread of the Carry On series, which is also about Chosen One at a magic school, but it is actually gay. There's an actual gay love story in it.
Hell yeah.
Which is always great. And then we have a Patreon exclusive Buffy podcast called We Are the Gayers, where it is where we spoil everything and we are going in the order of which seasons Lark and I like best. So we are
Wow.
We are currently we're nearly done.
Amazing.
We're nearly done with season 4 on our podcast, and then we have yet to reveal which season is next, but it'll be my pick for my favorite season.
So have you done seasons 2 and 3 already?
No, we started with season 4.
Lark's favorite season is season 4.
Yes.
Incredible.
Wow,
I
you and
love
Lark
it.
need to.
I will say, season 4 is in my top 3 seasons of Buffy. So
Hell yes.
Nice.
Hell yes for everyone but me. I'm getting kicked out of the club in this.
and I mean, I understand the criticism of season 4. There's a lot of unevenness, but there's a lot of really fun episodes in that season and some really good Spike stuff there too.
Yeah.
So
Woohoo, yes.
So clearly you'll be able to find all of this in the show notes today and on our socials and on all of those places. But the fact that you're doing a Buffy podcast leads us to believe that perhaps you have some experience with this show. Do you want to talk about sort of your relationship to Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
Yeah. So I actually was sort of a latecomer to Buffy. I didn't watch, even though I'm old, I'm like, it was on air. I remember it being on air. I actually didn't watch it until like 2009. I like graduated from college and was just a depressed millennial at home. So I was like, and my roommate at the time was like, let's watch some season 3 of Buffy. And I'm like, I've heard of this show. And then, I watched the entire series in a month and a half.
Whoa.
I like got up a couple hours early before work to watch episodes before I went to work.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a very extreme binge watch of the season. And then that was pretty much it. I joined some live journal communities because that was still a thing at the time.
Yes. Yes.
And yeah.
And you, based on the titles of all of your podcasts, I assume that you are also heterosexual like we are.
Extremely, extremely heterosexual. No, I am a chaotic dirtbag bisexual. So
nice. Well, like humorous and ruthless, chaotic dirtbag bisexual. There's just like really good word pairings happening, and we're only a few minutes into talking. All right. Well, should we talk about this episode? Potential?
Yeah.
Great. Wow. Here we go. Did you like the previously ons, Jenny? How did you feel about them?
I feel like the previously ons to me were just like potentials this, potentials that, potentials another thing. Here's Eve doing her little TV blip. Here's a Turrican decapitation. Spike has been rescued, and Buffy gives a motivational speech, which continues in this. It's previously on Buffy. There was a motivational speech preparing you for the motivational speech yet to come.
Yes.
I was prepared.
Yeah. It was what I was confused about, because I had to look up, like I had an idea of what Joyce had said to Dawn, but it had been a few episodes. So I was really confused about why they wouldn't have included that clip in the previously ons, because they reference what Joyce said to Dawn. So I feel like several times. And I had to be like, dear Google, what does Joyce say to Dawn in season 7 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer? So, I looked it up for us. Don't worry. I'll let everybody know when we get there verbatim what Joyce says, but an odd choice by the editor.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
If I hadn't have literally listened to your episode, Conversations with Dead People, I would have been like, what did Joyce say again? Because it's been, I haven't watched any of the episodes in season 7 in a long time. So I'm just like, I vaguely remember what happens, but I'm like, what? So.
Yeah, we know it's not great and it has something to do with Buffy, but what is it again? I don't know. So we begin in the cemetery.
Vi clutching her stake two-handed directly under her chin, clinging for dear life.
Of the same note, Rona's doing a decent job holding the stake. It's a little far down towards the point, but she's got the general concept. Vi, but also, I thought Vi is holding it bizarrely, but I think it would be effective if she just sort of leaned forward really hard into a vampire.
Sure. Yes.
Which could happen because they're at potential summer camp learning how to slay vampires.
Oh my God, it literally is potential summer camp.
Oh. I have a question.
Yeah.
Where's Chloe? We just met Chloe. Jessie, since you haven't checked in on season 7 in a while. We just got an influx of new potentials last episode, and one of them, Chloe, is just absent from this episode. She's also the youngest one, so I'm a little stressed out.
Maybe she actually had to go to school for a few episodes, you know, like she had some stuff to take care of.
Mm-hmm.
My question is more macro to before we like dig into the specifics, which is, speaking of summer camp, it is like, you know, the potentials are at potential summer camp. I like that. Buffy is definitely the camp counselor. And I'm just wondering how you both feel about Buffy's approach to being the camp counselor or the watch. I mean, she's really taking the role of a watcher with the potentials.
I think in this episode, I feel like she's not doing a great job. I mean, obviously, I love Buffy a whole lot, but I think this bit in the cemetery where she's like, "You gotta trust your gut." I'm like, okay, that's good advice. And then there's a couple scenes later, she's like, they're in the basement. She's like, "You're all gonna die," and I'm like, Buffy, Giles would never have said that to you. Number one. You could be channeling him. Yeah. Even Spike. Spike was at least like, death is your art. You make it with your hands every day. Have him give this speech.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Jenny, how do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have a note about you're all gonna die. Based on, you know, the outcome of this training arc, it could be argued that Buffy is succeeding in her mission of helping them develop the physical and mental skills to slay. But her bedside manner just really leaves something to be desired.
Yeah, I think she's very confident in her Slayer abilities, and I don't think she's that confident in her, which makes sense because she's a Slayer, not a Watcher. This is not a task that like she's had any experience with. But I agree. Then that's, you know, when I asked it, my thought process was, I don't think that she shows up for them in a way. They do figure it out, and they are getting better at stuff. But I think Dawn does, and we'll talk about it in detail, but like I think Dawn shows up for Amanda in the way that I wish Buffy were showing up for the rest of the potentials. And exactly. I don't fault her for it. I don't, because it's not, I mean, you know, it's not what she was hired for. As a matter of fact, she's not been hired for anything. She's only been chosen.
Right.
But yeah.
I think like getting, you know, pretty zoomed out on the episode, I think it's like a shame. I feel like there's so much talk in this episode about like, oh, suddenly Dawn is special. Oh, never mind. Dawn's not special. Dawn, what the yes. value being suddenly placed on and then retracted from Dawn feels very weird. And also, like, because we get to see her in action with Amanda talking her through a really scary, dangerous situation and like keeping her cool and staying resourceful and being pretty awesome, the fact that she is not actively involved in the larger picture with the potentials is kind of a bummer. Like she feels like she has those skills that Buffy's not got a handle on, and it would be cool to see her get to use them.
I mean, it's very clear that Dawn has some like real leadership skills and like was really able to like connect with Amanda in a way that like helps, you know, Amanda move into the, you know, her role as a potential. And it's like, Buffy, you need this energy at your sad summer camp. like Dawn is already doing research. Let her come in and connect as another 16-year-old who does not have superpowers.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And based on
Dawn's rolling in like, hello, my fellow kids, actually.
But like from everything that we are led to believe about these potentials, they have less training than Dawn by a landslide, you know? So it doesn't make any sense on so many levels. And Jenny, to your point, I think I really thought that this episode was going to turn that special on its head. Like just based on the way they were really driving it home in the beginning, that like the potentials were special, they were special, but Dawn wasn't special. That by the end, the lesson would be that like actually, and we get a really nice, you know, moment between Xander and Dawn, and we'll talk about the scenes individually, but They didn't. They really just dug their heels in on that. Like, these guys are special and these guys are different. They're not that. They're something else. And
which I actually kind of appreciate for Dawn, which we'll get into once we get to like the end of the episode. But I actually think that is still really powerful and important in its own right, because partly just kind of overall how many stories we have in media about like chosen ones. And I think that like exploring people who aren't chosen is like still really interesting. You can really do some interesting things with it. And I think this episode does that in a way that I don't actually remember what happened this season in like detail. So I'm like, I hope it continues to happen, because it's like,
yeah. You and me both, Jessie. Who knows what happens for the rest of the season?
It's like, oh, Dawn, like, you're so good at this, Dawn. Like, I don't know.
She really is. All right, so back in the cemetery, we're training at Slayer summer camp, and they're using Spike, which is great. I mean, what a great resource. You know, they've a friendly vamp on their hands. So they're using Spike as a way to teach these potentials how to deal with vampires. Rona making excellent points throughout the entire episode, talking about how this fight is unfair, later talking about her preference of the classic steak as a weapon. And she has a line right at the top of the episode where, Buffy's like, these two are dead. Anyone know why? And Rona's like, yeah, because the black chick always gets it first. Buffy, super dismissive of this. And also the series, I mean, we've said it like 5 fucking million times, but like, you have not earned a joke like this. At least that's my opinion for where this series is that like having a black character say a line like this is not inherently wrong. That can be like a funny turn on its head joke, but not in a series that has treated its black and POC characters pretty poorly since the jump.
Yeah. I will say, though, that I think all of, like, this comment especially I love for Rona, because it's like, Rona is the one person who has seen a horror movie. Like, she's genre savvy enough to know what is going on. And so I feel like out of all the potentials in this episode, she's the one who's sort of like clearly seeing what is going on and is like, yeah, okay, y'all, like, I've seen the movies. I know what's happening here.
Yeah. We were just talking about this in the last episode where Rona is introduced and is immediately sort of this audience proxy for people who are just tuning in season 7 for some reason. She's like asking all of the questions that you'd want to know if you were becoming familiar with the universe for the first time. And she has like the most sort of inherent, like her spider senses always tingling, and she's always like, why is that happening? Why is that guy tied to a chair, etc.
Yeah, she just like, I feel like the less sort of like a lot of the other potentials seem to be like they're still like a little bit in shock of what's happening. It's like Rona has already accepted this reality and is like, okay, how do I not die? Because I don't want to be like y'all. Yeah. I'm not trying to be the like trope of the black guy dies first. I'm not trying. That's not about to be my life. Yeah. And I'm like, that's right.
Yeah. Rona and Kennedy, like really, they're the two most confident potentials. Vi, who's partnered with Rona in this fight scene, is maybe the most scared. Right.
It's also very fun to see a very baby Felicia Day. I'm like, I forgot you're like so young and baby faced.
Oh my God, with her little hat.
With her Willow season 2 hat. Yes.
Yeah. They definitely were like, what if we dress her like Willow and then she sort of, her personality is kind of like Andrew 2.0, where she's like calling Spike sir and saying like, I have learned a valuable lesson of some sort for sure.
Yeah. So this is where Buffy gets her first, like, I put little blocks around each one of Buffy's lessons, and this is the first one that basically you got to trust your instincts, right? Like your instinct was to run, which they admit. You should have run, because then you could fight on your terms and not on the vamp's terms. A good point. A good solid point.
Oh yeah.
And then like to understand his instinct but to trust yours, right? That like it's not just about trusting your instinct. It's also like you got to know you have to know what they're doing and why they're doing it so that you can be a better fighter. And she, it shows this. She shows her work by ducking as Spike lunges for her. He slams into a headstone, nearly gets knocked out, and she's like, and that's the lesson, that's the first lesson.
And then after you defeat your vampire foe, it's important to straddle them and touch their stomach a little bit.
The tender shot of Spike's belly in this scene. It's you just don't see it coming, It's usually all pecs and nothing more with Spike. We get this very tender moment between the two of them, which I thought maybe I would like the most, but someone in this scene likes it even more.
It's like very sexy tender, and then like watching Rona be like, oh yeah, and I'm like, you know what? You're right. This is a bisexual dream, Rona. I totally feel you where you're coming from. And I'm like, did I not realize you're bisexual? My first watch of this scene. Like, I'm like, how did I miss that? It's like between this and the overalls. I'm like, damn.
Oh my God. And the tracksuit too.
And the
scene. She's looking so good in the tracksuit.
Yeah.
I've seen this episode a few times, and like I definitely like clocked her saying like that's hot, but like I don't think I ever really saw her say that's hot and then she licks her lips as she's looking at Spike and Buffy. It's pretty delightful.
Yeah, it's not a sarcastic that's hot. It's like actually I'm glad I get to watch these two hot people like wrestle each other in real time. And I'm like, I mean, same. So
yeah. Right? And then we go to the credits.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that Molly is like, so can we use our feminine wiles to distract vampires? Is like such a relevant question. She's like writing this down.
Yeah.
Yeah, Molly's gotten really serious. She's like taking notes. Her hair's pulled back. She's like, realize the stakes are high. No pun intended.
Pun fully intended, maybe.
Yeah. We come back on fun. The summer camp is fun for like 1 second, Slayer camp. The girls are like all in the basement and they're laughing. They're having a good time. And then Buffy is like, hey, by the way, your camp counselor is here to tell you that you're all going to fucking die.
Buffy, no.
Like, why does she... This reminds me of, like, remember when Dawn just wanted to have a good time learning what a triangle was, and Buffy was like, everybody stop having fun and do your homework. It's like, somebody needs to tell Buffy... Yeah, like, Faith needs to get back here, because, somebody needs to remind Buffy or teach Buffy that you can have fun and learn how to be a Slayer all at the same time.
Modern potentials can have it all. You don't need to come down into the basement while they're chatting about chin-ups and one-arm push-ups and then throw an axe to get their attention. Buffy.
Especially since, Buffy, you had so much fun hanging out with Giles doing shit. Like, unless the council showed up, but
Yeah.
Fuck them. So I'm just like, where is this? And I know you're stressed out about this, but you have such a good teacher to model yourself after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think you actually kind of hit it, which is that the same thing was happening with Dawn at that time in the series, that she was terrified that she couldn't do a good job. And so it does seem like when Buffy is scared that she can't do the things she needs to do, she cannot do anything but like be, fairly dominating and eliminating of fun.
Yeah, it's very intense.
Yeah. So some exposition, not as much as we've gotten in previous episodes, thankfully, but we learn that the first is so sad about Turkon. First is like crying as Eve, crying as every embodiment that the first has taken, because apparently that this was a big deal. The Turkon was supposed to last a lot longer than he did.
It feels like if you're like, I don't know, you spend a lot of time on like some kind of like creative project, and then you're like, oh, I have to start from scratch, and I've put 80 hours into this. And that's sort of like the vibe that the first has, where it's like, I gotta unravel this whole sweater and start all over again. Throw it all away.
Yes.
It feels important here, considering like everything that's going to happen in the episode, that Buffy doesn't actually remember the name of the Turrican, but Dawn, who is just watching, who's just observing the training session, is like pushing the glasses up on the bridge of her nose, and she's like, I think you mean Turrican.
Also, she calls him Shaka Khan, which cannot go unspoken.
Sure, yeah, sorry.
And like, listen, if you've heard Showtime, you know that we've put in requests for you to send Turrican making his grand entrance to the Summers home to various songs. So like, just saying, I hope one of you in advance of this knew to submit it to a Shaka Khan song. Thank you very much.
Or maybe use the like TikTok meme where it's like the Shaka Khan singing the Reading Rainbow theme and like people's heads are floating in space with the like, what is it? The like,
you're proving your true millennial status now.
We're like, what is
a TikTok meme that's a lot of words all together?
Oh my god, I watch a lot of TikTok. I still don't know how to make a TikTok. I need probably my 13-year-old nephew to show me. Yeah. So I feel like I'm just squeaking by the like with my millennial cred.
Yeah. You've defined the line between millennial and elder millennial. It's like it's a fine line, but it's there, you know.
Yeah.
And Dawn, I have a lot of hearts for Dawn in my notes this whole episode. And this is the first Dawn heart. That she knows what she's talking about. Throughout the whole episode, she's constantly correcting people and being like, but don't you remember this fact and this other fact? She's paying attention.
And Buffy in her little speech as it goes on, is like, oh, some of you are gonna die in this battle. Decide now that it's not going to be you. And then she goes on to say, you guys are special. You know why you exist. And that's lucky because a lot of people don't know why they exist. You are chosen. And Dawn on the stairs, so bummed, is told to hurry up and eat her breakfast so she's not late for school.
Very insensitive.
Why doesn't anybody care about Dawn's feelings?
No. Dawn and Faith really do need to hang out, you know?
Spin-off show.
Oh, I just sometimes like to imagine the like how much maybe Faith and Dawn hung out in the reimagining of season 3 where Dawn is there, because I feel like it's kind of a lot.
Yes.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. What did the monks do for us?
Like Dawn has a lot of memories of hanging out with Faith and vice versa, and that's like I feel very strongly about that.
Wow, I would like that.
Faith definitely had a special nickname for Dawn.
Yes, you've talked about this. You've asked, a listener emailed us just recently because you've asked this question before.
So I'm consistent.
You are consistent. Nothing if not consistent. And one of our listeners suggested Splinter or something like that because, Dawn is like a little Buffy, and like Buffy is the Slayer with her stake, and so she's like a little splinter of a steak.
That's very cute.
Oh my God, that's so cute.
That's cute, right? Also, I just, not to get whatever, I know we have like a lot of scenes to cover, but this struck me a little bit oddly, and maybe this folds into some of the chosen one conversation you were having earlier, Jessie, but I just think it's bizarre that Buffy is like, you're so lucky because you know what you're doing and you know your purpose. That seems like a mixed, like, it seems like if you chose what you wanted to do and you are like happy about it, then that's great. Like, look at you, you know what you want to do in this world. It doesn't seem to fit in this scenario where like none of them chose it. So I just thought it was maybe not accurate.
Yeah, like I feel like any number of these young people, you know, just going to high school being like, oh man, I'm going to go to college or I'm going to go travel or whatever. And now it's like I'm in some rando's basement thinking about how to not die because of supernatural creatures that I thought weren't real like 6 months ago.
And if anyone fucking knows that life, it's Buffy. She like had to kill her first boyfriend and like couldn't go to fucking, you know what I mean? Like She couldn't go away to college. She like so many of the things she wanted to do, she didn't get to do. So I'm like all here for saving the world. But I think back to the camp counselor situation, it would be nice if Buffy, I think, was a bit more honest and transparent with them. Because I think that's what they need more than like, you love this. This is great for you. You're going to win.
Especially since Buffy, out of all people, knows that having a group of people to support you is what's going to help you live longer. Like,
Yes. Yes.
Selective Buffy Summers memory. It's not the first time we've seen it, and I'm sure it won't be the last.
So we head off to work. Oh, yes, Jenny.
Listen.
I'm so sorry.
It's very important. I'm going where you're going, Kristin. We're going to the Buffy Summers counseling cubicle. But listen, it's very, very important that we hold up the magnifying glass to this moment where Buffy's on the phone telling Xander, who must be upset, that if he's going to shower at her house, he really needs to lock the door. And then she says, and then Kristin and Jessie, she says, of course they're curious. What? Are we? I don't know what to take away from this other than that these 15-year-old girls were like, there's a naked man in the shower. We should open the door and be like, boo?
Yeah.
Did you get anything else from this? I'm confused.
Nope, that's exactly what I got from it. But I reasoned it away so that I could accept it by thinking to myself, Xander probably is like, well, they just all want to get a look at me, because you could just fucking hear him saying that shit. And Buffy just being like it's like her dismissing the Xander of it all just to make it go away. That's what I did in my brain.
Okay.
Giles is not here. Giles is in Shanghai picking up another Slayer named Chao An. Can't wait to meet that Slayer. I'm sure that it will be done so well and responsibly.
Yeah.
Whatever
could you mean? I mean,
the show it's clearly already showing us that it does a great job. So can't wait for that. And then we get Amanda. Remember Amanda? Here she comes.
I do remember Amanda. She's like, is it weird that there's a boy who picks on me and we're mean to each other and we like each other? And Buffy is like, boy, oh boy, have you come to the right place?
I love this entire exchange because it's just like them both confirming that they love enemies to lovers tropes. And I'm like, I mean, also same. But it's like, Buffy, are you counseling Amanda or is Amanda counseling you? Because that's really, the line is real blurry here for a minute.
Yeah. Amanda also confused about which direction this is going. Oh, all right. Can we play a little sound clip here to get us into the next scene? Because I laughed for a while.
There might be a more appropriate thing if you guys are gonna go roughhouse and all about. There might be a more appropriate place to do that, like maybe outside in a different state. Why do we always have to yell?
What happened to this house? This is just teen girls?
I was like,
chairs are overturned.
I was literally trying to figure that out. I'm like, there's the pictures are askew and there's stuff, and I'm like, what was happening here?
Is this because they saw Xander naked and then they all flew into a psychotic rage?
It was like a mini version of the Love Spell episode where they were all just fighting for a look at Xander, knocking things off the walls. Oh, God. The scene doesn't last super long. Buffy walks in and, like us, is like, the fuck? I was gone for a minute. The hell happened here? And then Willow is like, hey, this is a very funny scene, but we actually have to move to a very serious scene. We have news. We got news. So they move to the dining room, and the news is, it makes sense with the title of the episode, which is that there is another potential, and this potential is in Sunnydale, but the seer couldn't see this potential. They just know that she's in Sunnydale. Xander makes a crack about the seer, and I'm like, maybe the seer couldn't see this potential because there's already they're like a cluster of potentials. It's probably harder to distinguish details when they're all together like this.
Or some weird hellmouth interference, general
hellmouth just blur. Static. It's like the censored. It just blurs over.
Terrible seer reception on the hellmouth. The seer also couldn't identify, couldn't say who the potential was who was at the hotel in the previous episode, which was Eve, who ultimately had already been killed by bringers and was the first was posing as her. I mean, Sunnydale having just a ton of interference, you know, makes a lot of sense. But also, it's not a bad question, Xander. If your title is Seer, one would hope.
Fair. Listen, I am pro Xander in most of this episode, but I just want him to get off the Seer's back, you know? Leave her alone.
They're doing the best they can.
They're doing the fucking best they can from like England. You know what I mean? That's far. That is
pretty far. And this is 2003. Do you remember were you ever on the phone with somebody in England in 2003? The reception was trash.
The potential is like, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Oh no. Jessie, did you ever see a long-running Verizon campaign in which a man...
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Sure
just
have.
checking.
I'm about to say, it's like, you know, the helmet is just like a giant dead zone. You have to like hold the potential up and like move outside of the sea. Like, can you sense her?
You have to pull the antenna up on the potential.
Yeah. Lift your left arm, raise your right foot.
Oh, God. So this scene really exists to just get us to Buffy was going to take the potentials on an outing. Andrew really wants to go. He just really wants to help. Give him his holy water and let him go, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And that Willow is going to stay home to do a locator spell to figure out. All Willow has done this season is throw magic dust on maps. It's like her new...
It's the only safe magic she can do, Kristen.
She's like telling them what it's going to be, and I'm like, we all know at this point. There's a map and a light, and the light will move. We get it. Anyway.
Kristen, I saw on Twitter earlier that you were looking up Snausages, which is relevant to this scene.
This next scene, yeah. I wanted to know if Snausages still existed. They do. Don't fucking panic. You can still get Snausages.
I was like, wow, there's so many like throwback references in this episode, and I'm like, wow, I haven't even seen a package of Snausages, but like, I feel like everyone is just like, we don't feed our dogs artificial processed crap anymore.
Right.
There was the commercial that I watched was from 1984, which is like far earlier than this, but it is what I remembered. They probably, Snausages probably like made one commercial and just play, maybe three. But it's just the dog saying Snausages over and over again, and the announcer guy is like, trade for your dog. What should we call it? This name, that name, and the dog is like Snausages.
The
And
dog's naming the product.
Yeah. The dog named it. Yeah.
I have a terrible feeling I've said this already on this podcast, possibly multiple times, but I just want to confess here before both of you that I, as a child, was really into sampling my dog's treats, and I have tasted a Snausage because they look like little cocktail wieners.
Yeah,
they look like pigs in a blanket,
but no blanket.
Yes, blanket.
You're right. The Snausage commercial I saw did not have the Snausages in
the pre-blanket Snausages.
Snausages 1984. Yeah, find out, listeners. Can you find out when the Snausage got its blanket?
We need to know. And if the recipe is still the same, I just want to save everyone potential heartache. Snausages are much drier and much less like a pig in a blanket than you would hope from looking at it. However, now, to your point, Jessie, my dog, are like limited ingredient, single protein, organic, artisanal, bespoke dog treats. I smell them and I'm like, this just smells like a friggin' cookie that I baked. It is straight up human, which is probably good. Food is probably better than not food.
Yeah.
I feel like I've met plenty of dogs who would just love to eat some like garbage. And I love eating like, I don't know, combos. I'm like, what is really the difference?
Right.
Or like McDonald's. So I'm like, whatever.
Wow. I think you actually nailed it. Combos are the Snausages of human food.
Okay, but don't combos look kind of like Snausages too? My brain is like a little red in the middle.
100%.
And I'm like, okay.
Oh my God, I fucking loved a combo. Was a pretzel combo a special, that was special that it was a pretzel, or was always a pretzel around?
It was, regular combos had like a cracker, so the pizza ones, and then there was the pretzel ones had like a cheese filling.
Yeah, they did.
They still make combos, by the way. They have real dairy in them, which I cannot eat, but they still smell and look delicious.
Wow. This episode...
My stomach is rumbling.
I'm just going to look up a picture of combos really quick. Or combos.
Oh, God, look at them.
Okay, stop looking at your combos. All right, I have more questions for you, Jenny. We'll have to do a special Patreon episode where you rank dog food, because I'm just so curious, but we don't have the time for that here.
Okay.
Okay, so the Slayers, by the way, the reason we talked about Snausages for like 4 fucking years just now is because Buffy walks into the kitchen with Andrew and says he's like a small dog begging for Snausages, in case you needed the connective tissue. The girls, the potentials are in here picking up weapons, trying to figure out what they're going to use. This is where Rona is like, I'm going to go with the steak, a classic. And I'm like, I fucking love you, Rona. Kennedy.
Oh, wait, Kristen, I'm sorry. Rona also says, I like the feel of wood in my hand.
Yeah, that's why I just said Kennedy like that, is because a couple episodes ago, I was like, maybe they cut that part out because it was a stupid lesbian joke. And Jenny was like, this show definitely loves a stupid lesbian joke. Kennedy walks in and says, lost me there. Okay. 2003 television.
Okay.
With queer themes.
It was a different time.
A very different time. Okay, Kennedy.
Yeah, I feel like I was watching... Sorry, this is going to be mildly off topic. Me and my wife are watching the early 2000s classic Dark Angel with Jessica Alba, which is...
Wow!
Canonically queer Black character, which is... And, like, a surprisingly diverse cast. But, like, we were watching an episode, and then there was a, like... shockingly transphobic B plot where I'm just like, wow, from all this like cool, like from like not only like the lesbian character, which unfortunately maybe kind of tracks, but like all the other like cool like character. I'm like, what is happening? And I'm like, it's 2000 and it's like 2000 or whatever, 2001. That's why. And I'm like, in
the 2000s, you couldn't have a television show with a lesbian character without there being some kind of penis-related joke. Yeah. Like, it was just like that it wasn't allowed. I think it was against, what is it, standards and practices, you know? Yeah. They were like, if you include a lesbian character, you must make a transphobic joke. Just 1 for 1. Anyway, Dawn. That's really why this scene is here, because Dawn's like, I killed things. I've killed things too. You know, like, just Dawn, buddy.
I know you have.
Somebody take care of Dawn. Andrew tries a little bit to bond with Dawn. But yeah, Andrew wants to go. He throws his little hissy fit of Spike killed people and he gets to go. Buffy making a very good point that Spike didn't have free will and Andrew, you did. So Andrew and Dawn are left behind.
I have to say that Andrew being like, I hate my free will is like hashtag mood. I'm like, I really can't. So much about Andrew, I think, is a mood in this episode.
Oh, yeah.
Also, I was about to move us into the next scene, but I did want to just give a little nod to Buffy's description of Andrew. He's not evil, but when he gets close to it, he picks up its flavor, kind of like mushrooms.
Or tofu. Andrew is totally tofu. Would have been tofu if it wasn't 2003.
Yeah. People didn't really understand tofu in 2003.
Yeah, you'd have to be like a weird, crunchy vegetarian to be eating tofu in 2003. So
yeah. Jenny's raising her hand. I
was doing it.
I was also eating tofu in 2003. I'm just like,
okay, well, dining room, magic time.
We're on Zoom. And this is a podcast, a notably non-visual medium, but I just held up my hands as though I, too, were holding a large shed snakeskin, and then I
moved it around,
sort of undulated it left and right the way that snakes move, for the benefit only of Kristin and Jessie. Thank you.
Oh God, let's just hear him. Let's just hear. Okay, so
yes,
they're
please.
at a table, right? And Willow's like got some tumbleweeds and eggs and chrysalises, which before we get to Andrew's sound clip, she does call butterfly transformer pods, which I am like fucking fully here for.
It is good.
And then Andrew picks up the snakeskin and says,
At your service, Miss Rosenberg, sir.
What a nerd.
Then he's like, imagine if every once in a while people wriggled out of their skins and left them on the sidewalk. An image I will carry with me to my grave.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I actually also kind of funny considering he's saying it to Willow, who did literally skin someone and leave their skin lying around. I'm like, is that an intentional match? Like, I wasn't sure that was like an intentional reference or not, but I was kind of like, Andrew, do you
I think
not
that's
know?
why Willow was like kind of quieter. You know what I mean? Like, I think she was thinking that. I think she was thinking about that. That has happened one time in Sunnydale. Where did Warren's skin go? I'm sorry. I retract that from the statement, please.
Yes.
Yeah, all the answers to that are not great.
No, none of them. There is not one good answer.
One of those answers is good.
All right. So they're talking about who this potential slayer might be. Dawn has some guesses. A glamazon in her gym class. She hopes it's not Margot, who fainted dissecting a fetal pig. Gross. Sunnydale High School. Fucking no thank you.
Okay. Sorry. I have to say, I think Margot the Freak is probably the teen vegetarian, the teen vegan at Sunnydale High, which is probably why she fainted, which is like, Dawn, rude.
Yeah. Margot's eating tofu. You know,
Margot definitely knows about
tofu.
She definitely knows about tofu.
So yeah, there's going to be a light. It's going to be enchanted. They're going to find the Slayer. We move. It's a very funny scene change. Like, you could tell that there was probably some discrepancies on who was available on what day, because the trio in the living room is Willow and Andrew and Dawn. But then when they move to the dining room to do the spell, Andrew is gone, but Xander and Anya are there. So it's like a little switch for the magic. So the spell happens. It stinks. If you throw an egg in a fireplace, does it stink for real? It didn't check for me.
I've never thrown an egg in a
Probably.
fireplace. Have you, Jessie?
I have not, but I actually kind of like the detail that this spell is smelly, because I feel like a lot of the spells are probably smelly.
If you have thrown an egg into a fireplace, please call us at 1-800-EGG-FIRE.
Fire egg.
Fire egg.
As a podcast network, our focus is bringing you shows you love to listen to. But we also sell merch related to those shows. And partnering with Shopify has made that both possible and simple for us to do. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. Whether you're selling scented soap or offering outdoor adventures, Shopify helps you sell everywhere, because they've got you covered, from their all-in-one e-commerce platform to their in-person POS system. What's so fantastic about Shopify is how, no matter how big you want to grow, they provide everything you need to get control of your business so you can take it to the next level. Businesses that grow, grow with Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm. That's all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/realm.
As a podcast network, our first priority has always been audio and the stories we're able to share with you. But we also sell merch, and organizing that was made both possible and easy with Shopify. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell and grow at every stage of your business, from the launch your online shop stage all the way to the did we just hit 1 million orders stage. Whether you're selling scented soap or offering outdoor outfits, Shopify helps you sell everywhere. They have an all-in-one e-commerce platform and in-person POS system, so wherever and whatever you're selling, Shopify's got you covered. With the internet's best converting checkout, 36% better on average compared to other leading commerce platforms, Shopify helps you turn browsers into buyers. Shopify has allowed us to share something tangible with the podcast community we've built here, selling our beanies, sweatshirts, and mugs to fans of our shows without taking up too much time from all the other work we do to bring you even more great content. And it's not just us. Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the US. Shopify is also the global force behind Allbirds, Rothy's, and Brooklinen, and millions of other entrepreneurs of every size across 175 countries. Because businesses that grow with Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/REALM now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/realm.
So yeah, the spell happens. They think it hasn't worked. Anya cuttingly to Willow. So you messed up a spell again? These two. They've left the honeymoon phase. And Dawn goes to the door to open it up to like air out the place, and this glowing, smelly blob orb hits her right in the chest. And they're like, oh shit. Dawn is the potential?
Cue everyone losing their minds. Xander's like, wow, you could be the next Slayer. Anya's like, wow, it seems like only yesterday you were a klutzy, kleptomaniac teen. Xander's like, this is huge. We have to think about this. Weirdly, Willow says, oh yeah, remember that thing about they shared the same blood or whatever? Which feels like a very specific thing that was like really drilled into us to just be like, whatever. I like half remember this.
Also, do no Slayers, it's not a blood, it's not in your blood. It's not, because that would mean that no Slayer ever has a sibling, right? Or they're like, that doesn't.
Well, it's not just that they're siblings, but that Dawn, if I'm remembering correctly, is literally made of Buffy.
Right. Made from the rib of Buffy.
Essentially, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Willow, I feel like Xander, like Anya is Anya, 100% through and through in this scene. Xander has, I think, more of a hold on the sort of gravity of this than Willow, which doesn't track for, like, Willow would definitely be able to hold that this is not like a very exciting revelation. But she's like given that task in the scene, the way that it's written, to be like, this is amazing. And you're going to it feels so cool when there's a power bigger than you. I'm like, does it, Willow? Do you remember the end of season 6?
Didn't you just spend a lot of time in England getting that power out of your system?
Yeah.
The thing that like really, I just like, everyone's freaking out and nobody's thinking about Dawn. Nobody's like measuring their reactions, you know? And then we get this like thing where they want to call Buffy and tell her, and Xander's like, oh, she didn't take a phone. Dawn's like, oh yeah, because all the important people are with her. And Xander says, you're important now. Mm-hmm. What?
Yeah, but we kind of get a little...
I'm not the podcast Dawn stan, and I'm like, justice for Dawn. What are we doing? Everyone's really sucking for Dawn.
Which is wild to me, because like, it's not like we're in season 5 where she's like 13. It's like Dawn is a very capable Scooby at this point in her own right, number one. And then number two, honestly, the audacity of Willow, the way that she's freaking out, when it's like, Willow, what were you doing at 16? Oh yeah, you were running around with Buffy, like trying to kill vampires, like skirting around with magic and being like, oh, look at this cool thing I can do. Like, I can fucking re-soul Angel. It's what? Like, it's just, I'm just like, did y'all forget where you were 5 years ago? It was not that long ago.
It truly was not that long ago, and they don't seem to have it. Xander, I give Xander's "you're important" now. Once I got to the end of the episode, I was like, oh, okay. I see where, like, he was catching feelings in this moment too, I think, right? Like, Xander also carries no matter how much he's journeyed and no matter how much he understands, like, he carries very much the, like, I'm not the important one in this equation. So, like, I give him a little bit of room to have said that. But yeah, I agree. Hardcore agree on all of these things, which is like, it just feels like not Anya. This is exactly how you expect Anya to show up in this moment. But Xander and Willow, not so much.
Actually, I do love Anya's weird metaphors. I'm like, I'm a huge Anya fan. So I'm just like, never, like, you're just so consistent where you're just like,
oh my God.
I love it.
She tells Dawn that, like, it's like she's been swallowed by a large thing that swallowed her.
Yes. You're part of something larger, like being swallowed by something larger. It is good.
Speaking the truest truth, once Dawn is upstairs, even though Dawn can hear everything that they're saying, if she's chosen, her life is short and brutal. And if not, her life smells of unfulfilled potential. I mean, you know, like, Anya cuts to the quick with it all. This is the scene where I was like, wait, what did Joyce say to Dawn?
Mm-hmm.
Because basically Dawn is like, I don't know if you should tell Buffy. I'm panicked about you telling Buffy because of what Joyce said. For those of you who have a goldfish brain like mine, Joyce said to Dawn, Ghost Joyce, when it's bad, Buffy won't choose you. She'll be against you. So this is still in Dawn's brain, and she doesn't think it's a good idea for Buffy to know. I don't think it's a good idea I mean, of course Buffy would have to know, but, like, I don't think that Buffy will be excited at all. I agree with, like, Xander and that camp of thinking, which is like, she's gonna be fucking, are you kidding? Dawn says it herself, like, so if I become a Slayer, that means that my sister died. Like, this is not fun. This is not celebratory. This is, I mean, luckily it's also not true. So
yeah, this is the last thing Buffy would want for Dawn, is to be a potential, or to be like that. Even as sort of standoffish as Buffy is being with Dawn in this episode, like, this is the last thing she wants for Dawn.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Actually, I'm having a moment of clarity, I think, because we recently discussed this. The current Slayer lineage, Buffy died. Kendra was called. Kendra died. Faith was called. Buffy died again. Nobody was called. Buffy wouldn't actually have to die for Dawn, if Dawn was a potential Slayer, to become the Slayer. Faith would.
Yeah.
Even worse. Nobody's thinking about Faith ever.
Yeah, that is true, though.
Yeah, whatever the, like, Slayer line, whatever, like, Buffy has clearly been taken out of the running. Because, right, if another Slayer wasn't called when she died, then, like, yeah. It would be Faith is, whoever Faith's predecessor is would happen, as opposed to Buffy's, if, like,
right,
Faith's death would cause a predecessor.
This is what Botox's eye was on and on about last episode. You know? The eye was like, she broke the fucking Matrix, man. I don't know. We don't know what to do with her. She broke something. Anyway, Dawn is overhearing all of this upstairs. And she is freaking out, but also has a moment where she looks at herself in the mirror and she's like, I'm chosen. And then she climbs out the window because she still is also
They've really got to nail that thing shut, man.
I mean, seriously.
She's getting out willy-nilly, left and right, all the time.
Like, put a bell on it or something, like...
They should put a bell on Dawn, actually.
Yes.
Jenny, I think it's very funny that you said willy-nilly, since we then roll over into Willie's bar, although Willie... I don't know. I just assume it's Willie's bar.
Because
it looks like Willie's bar, but Willie isn't in it.
Do we think there's more than one... If there's more than one demon bar anywhere, it's Sunnydale, probably.
That's true. Yeah.
So uncertain.
If Willie isn't there, and I'm fine keeping with if Willie is there, it's Willie's bar, and if Willie is not there, it is not Willie's bar. Math of it.
Yeah.
But they arrive at a demon bar. A demon bar like a gay bar, but with demons. True.
Which I was just
Not
like
incorrect.
I was like, so you mean a dive gay bar, really? 'Cause
Yeah,
I'm like, I feel like I've been in this demon bar before. Yeah, like, I don't know.
But like the demons need to go somewhere where they can feel safe with each other, just like at a gay bar. You know, it's like similar politics at play here.
We get it.
Yeah, we get it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we heterosexual people can sort of.
Right. I mean, we
can
in
understand
theory get it.
We can understand it. So yeah, they're there so that they can learn another lesson. The first thing I learned is that at the bar they drink yak urine shots and pig butt spritzers. No. Tell you what, if I was in this writer's room, pig butt spritzers would have been my contribution, 1,000%. The 1,000, I was like, yes, nailed it.
Pig butt spritzers. No.
This also isn't true. Like, definitely there's real alcohol in this bar. We've seen
For
the demon.
sure.
Yeah, seen him drinking alcohol.
If there's one thing Spike loves, it's drinking beer.
Yeah.
We see him do it all the time.
Yeah.
There's no way that they're not serving the beer drinking demon populace in this bar.
Right. You're not having a like yak urine shot without some like topping it off with some vodka or something. Like that's just
right.
Yeah.
Or I could see a nice Pabst Blue Ribbon going with a yak urine shot, you know?
Yeah,
you do your yak urine shot and you got your Pabst Blue. Yeah.
Oh my God. They taste exactly the same.
Buffy is going off about how, oh, you come in here and it's real serious and any one of these demons could just rip your throat out. So you've got to know how to handle yourself. And then up walks Clem, who's like, girl, I was trying to TiVo something for you the other day. How have you been?
Love that. Like, I just really want to know what it was on the History Channel that he was like, Buffy would fucking love this. Like, what was it?
Yeah.
It's a special about Joan of Arc. I don't know.
Ooh, nice. Ooh, you did that quick.
Remember when she got really into Rasputin in season 4?
Oh, yeah. Good point.
I think it was season 4. Or yeah, because she was in college and her professor was making fun of her.
Yeah, that fucking dickhead. I remember that guy.
I also have to point out that I like how clearly Clem and Buffy still hang out, but like Clem did not even say hi to Spike, who I thought were buds, and I'm like, wow, what happened there?
Because like, and isn't Clem oh my gosh, because Clem was staying in Spike's crypt, maybe Spike was like, can I have my crypt back? And Clem was like, yeah, possession is 9/10 of the law. I'm just gonna stay in this sweet crypt that I have made my own.
I don't know. I feel like Clem, like Buffy and Spike have done a lot of like restorative work together, and perhaps Clem and Spike haven't like worked through some of what happened in season 6.
Oh yeah,
you know, like maybe that's the distance.
I feel like Clem seems like the kind of friend who'd be like, man, that was fucked up, Spike. I don't know if I can talk to you anymore.
Yes, 1,000%. Because Clem didn't know what was up, you know, and then he certainly learned what was up. So yeah, that's the story. I agree. Kennedy. It's like, so Rona is like, yeah, Buffy's sleeping with demons. Hell yeah. Kennedy is not having it at all. Kennedy's like, you think she dated him too? Like, what is the deal with this Slayer, you know? And then Buffy basically tells Clem, why? What is the lesson here? What? I don't understand the point, but it's funny. She whispers.
Perhaps even demons that seem really nice and try to TiVo things for you could have something under the surface of which you are unaware.
Nice, Jenny.
Threats at every turn.
Amanda and Dawn run into each other on the street. What are you doing? I'm just walking. What are you doing? I'm just walking. Takes a minute.
Just two gals out for a walk.
Just two gals.
At night in Sunnydale.
Amanda, so from what we are to understand with all the information we eventually get is that Amanda was at the school. There was a vamp. She was like, my counselor, Buffy, who also seems to be more than just a counselor, said to come to her for help. Amanda went all the way to Buffy's house, got hit by the orange ball. And then after that, this is when she's running into Dawn. So she's just been lapping. She's just been like walking around the block.
Maybe trying to work up the nerve or get undiscombobulated.
Would get undiscombobulated. Right. So yeah, she talks to Dawn about the vamp that she saw, but she doesn't say vamp. She says he looked funny right here, and like touches the bridge of her nose. And Dawn is like, I know what you're talking about, and I believe you. My sister's out, but don't worry, I've got this. I'll take this one.
It's so good. It's just like no hesitation to be like, I got you. We can take care of this. And I'm like, oh, Dawn.
Yeah. Dawn fucking rules. I love Dawn so much. And like I kept when I was like falling in love with John earlier in the series, I kept thinking like maybe this will wear off. Like maybe I'll understand why people have such a problem with Dawn. And the more the series has gone on, the more I'm like, I love her. This episode is obviously a winner for her, but
I think it helps where it's like I think in like season 5, it seems like the way that they've written her is like 2 years younger than like what Michelle Trachtenbaum's actual age is. So there's a bit of a like cognitive dissonance about like, you know, how much of like whiny younger sister makes sense. But I think like at this point, like season 7, it's like, okay, well, they figured out how to write you like a teenager who's like, for the most part, chill with all the weird shit happening in her life, you know? Yeah. And then we get to like have these moments where Dawn gets to be like, oh, I know what to do. Like, I've been to enough Scooby meetings. Like, we don't need to involve Buffy at all. She's busy with the other potentials. So, you know.
Dawn is taking care of business.
Wow.
So, I don't know. Sometimes things just come to me, you know?
Also, Dawn's like Letterman-esque jacket here is very cute.
It is. It is. They go to the school because Dawn's going to take care of business, and the vamp has seemingly gotten out of the classroom, but actually he's just a really dramatic vampire who has for no reason, because certainly
for no reason,
none.
He's just been hanging out in that room. The door's not locked anymore. He's suspended up there, and they're standing right under him. When the camera is close on his face, he is loudly breathing. He's like, they're right under him, and you're gonna tell me that they don't hear that?
Oh God. He's like, did you guys see that episode with the Queller demon? I took a couple of notes, you know? So this guy jumps down and he's chasing them through the school. The doors, these fucking doors at the school, this always happens. Why would they lock from the inside? This is not the first time that people have been locked inside of the Sunnydale High School.
Like, why are the doors locked from the inside, but apparently the windows just aren't locked automatically? I'm just like, what?
Right, because they fully just pop those open all the time to sneak in. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Dawn, killing it.
Look at her go, man.
Fucking elbow right through the glass, grabs the fire extinguisher. Her initial impulse was to just like blow the foam at the vampire. But she can't figure out how to do that, so she just fucking clocks him with it like 3 times.
Which I love so much, because it does kind of remind me, because like earlier we get the like, oh, it's in the family, it's in your blood, but it's like, this is very reminiscent of Joyce in School Hard, and I'm like, it does run in the family.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
So
you're right. Oh my God. Remember when she's inside of the? Okay, yeah.
And I'm like, oh. So
memories. Oh, that's even sweeter. Shit. So we take a brief detour from the vamp chase at the school, and we go to this crypt, which whoever wrote the IMDb description thought was Spike's crypt. Spike would never have a Pearl Jam poster on his wall, guys.
A Pearl Jam poster.
A Pearl Jam poster.
Okay, wait. I have a question for both of you. So, so they went from the Summers house to a random bar to this crypt. How are they getting around on this field trip? Are they... I want to imagine they're all crammed into Spike's car, but they could also just be walking.
I just imagine them. Do you know, like, I'm sure in any city this is a thing, but certainly in New York City, like children's daycares, like they have like a lot of 3-year-olds, and so they'll put little like wristbands on all. It's like a jog leash, but like with many appendages, you know? That's what I pictured the minute you're like, how are they getting them all around?
Oh, yeah. Or they walk in a line, but everybody has to hold hands with the person in front of them.
Oh, in front of them. I thought you were going to say like they all have a buddy. They have a buddy system. Yeah, they have been jaunting about town. Although Sunnydale is 2.5 blocks wide, so they don't have that far to go.
That's what they say.
Spike just really wants everyone to know that although, yes, it is common for vamp nests to be in a state of disarray like this one, that there are some vampires who have a sense of style and
His place was
taste.
actually nice, actually.
It really was.
He had all those
And
cool
Buffy,
rugs and shit. Like, it was nice.
so many rugs that you could sleep underneath them if you wanted to.
Sleep.
Yeah, Buffy says, yeah, his place was really comfy. And Kennedy's still pissed. Excuse me? What were you doing? Kennedy, you know. Okay, so stop fishing.
Yeah.
She's really fishing.
The look that passes between the potentials at this moment.
And it's like, Buffy, you should have known. Because you know the minute, like, when a high school teacher mentions something about another teacher or their personal life, and you're like, I know exactly what's going on now. That is the moment that all the potentials were like, oh yeah, Spike and Buffy have totally boned. Like,
yeah.
You might as well just have said it out loud the way you've confirmed it.
Oh my God, when I was in high school, my English teacher started dating another English teacher at the high school. And like, we could not get enough of it. Like, we couldn't, it was just like, he would come in and he had like a piece of paper and we'd be like, they got married and they have like 6 kids. So, it worked.
6?
Yeah, they had so many kids.
Wow.
So it worked out for them.
That's so many kids.
It's so many kids. Anyway, so there's a body, or they think there's a body. I mean, I guess it is a body of some kind there. And Buffy's like, that's not a body. That's leftovers. So this guy was eaten by the vamps, but only partially. And now he himself is a vamp.
Do you think it's weird at all that Buffy is like, look all around this crypt for signs that just last night there were vampires where you're standing?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, those are like sleeping bags everywhere. Not necessarily vampire. Okay, Pearl Jam poster. Could go either way. I guess, okay, now that I've talked myself through it, people who are not vampires could be getting up to all that other stuff. Yeah. And truly this body could just be the one sign that there. Okay, I've talked myself through it. Thank you for listening.
It's clearly, listen, this reminds me of like doing like if I'm going to do a talk at a school and it's the first time I've ever done it, and I'm like, okay, I'm definitely going to hit all of these bullet points. And then like in practice, the second time I do the talk, I'm like, okay, maybe we didn't need to go to the vamp nest. Maybe that was silly.
I think what gets me every time is how cavalier Buffy is about this body. Like, possibly because I've watched way too much Law and Order SVU. I like, every time I like go for a hike or like a walk in a park I've never been into, I'm like, what if I find a dead body? That'd be the worst. And everyone's just like, there's a body here. And she's like, whatever. And I'm like, no, Buffy. It's kind of a big deal.
I know. She's really in a particular mood this episode.
Yeah, she's got a real thing going on.
So this is when we start like the very serious back and forth between we're seeing Amanda and Dawn with the vamp at the school, and then we're seeing the potentials with the vamp and Buffy for a little while in the crypt, in the nest, whatever you want to call it.
I think this is good and effective, and the number one thing that it gives me is like, yes, go Dawn. Dawn is doing everything Buffy is saying, and it's so sick. And the fact that we like get to the end of this episode and like the takeaway is somehow like, Dawn, you're extraordinary, but you're not special. And I just think like, it just feels like such an undersell. Like, she's such a badass and she's so capable, and she's like leading the charge this whole time with somebody who is like born or imbued with this specialness that they're all kind of like hopped up about. But Dawn's kicking ass, and I don't care who knows it. I'm telling you both, and anyone listening.
Yeah. I mean, this is another reason why Dawn should really be, with the potentials helping them out. Because yes, Dawn is doing everything that Buffy is saying the potential should be doing. And it's like, well, Dawn and Amanda are doing better than your crop of potential. So there's really if you could bring those two together, you could really be helping everyone, I think.
And it would be one thing if Buffy didn't connect those dots right away, but as just in the show, you want the show to connect those dots, and it fully just doesn't. It's nope, still the chosen ones and the other ones, and I don't get it. Dawn is I guess I said this already, but the way she's talking to Amanda and getting Amanda to move into action is incredible, just incredible. And then the overlap of Buffy saying to them everything is a weapon to a slayer, and Dawn just busting open the beakers on the vamp's head and then fucking slamming the flag over her knee to make a stake and so good. It's so good.
Dude, I do love kind of early on in this back and forth when we're in the crypt and Buffy's saying no one's safe. See this guy? And Kennedy's he was dead a minute ago. And Buffy's that was a minute ago. That got me.
You like that? That was a good camp counselor Buffy moment for you?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, which goes into maybe the not great camp counselor, which is have fun in this crypt. And then it's they both leave to go to the high school. So I'm you just left these
they just left. Right. What?
That's not how.
Good luck.
That's none of this is how you should be teaching the potentials how to protect them. You could have come back to 4 slaughtered girls and no potentials. Buffy, what?
And also,
no.
It's not we've seen them kill vamps with supervision and protection before. They went right from Spike, a vampire who they knew wasn't going to kill them, to being left alone with a vampire who fully would kill them if given the chance. It doesn't make sense. I just want to highlight, I want to highlight 2 things. One is a great moment between Amanda and Dawn, where Dawn says, I don't know what I'm doing. And Amanda says, you're getting it done. So fucking good.
Awesome.
And then I think right after that we're in either voiceover or actually in the crypt. And Buffy says, it's not what do you think? It's what do you know? That felt like a good camp counselor moment from Buffy of you cannot wonder, you have to commit. You cannot think about if it's wrong or it's right. And that's the only way you can win is just by knowing that you are correct. Cool. Good advice. Better perhaps not in a crypt where you're going to leave them with a vampire, but on paper, it's good.
Buffy's kind of echoing the conversation that that she has with Spike in Fool for Love here. She's saying it just takes one vamp to kill you. And Spike, it reminded me heavily of Spike talking about how, he just needs to have one good day,
Yeah.
Which is a good, I don't know, a good cloud of fear to have in the back of your mind. Followed by the useful prompts of know your environment, know what's around you, know how to use it. That all seems good. But what if you just stayed and looked in the window or something?
I don't. So there's
stayed in the room and didn't help.
It's Buffy. So the way that the scenes, I don't think they effectively do this, but in the episode. But I will say that the scene in the crypt where they close the doors is immediately followed by, at the Summers house, Xander and Anya and Willow realizing that Dawn is gone. So there is, I think, timeline-wise, a chance that Buffy and Spike stayed there because Willow and Xander and Anya, they must have to go to the cemetery because there are no phones on Buffy, which is ridiculous that she wouldn't bring her phone. That's really the most ridiculous thing to me. But so let's just say they stayed there. It's still not good, but let's just say they stayed there. They saw the vamp get slayed. Then Willow and Xander get there and they're like, yo, you got to go to the high school or whatever. Dawn's gone and missing. Maybe. So the bringers arrive at the school and Dawn fucking uses the Bunsen burner and some fucking chemicals in the science classroom to send a cloud of fire at the bringers to save Amanda. Stunning work.
Dude, which she's doing because she's expecting the bringers to come for her, but no, they just all flock to Amanda, and she's like, no, you want me.
Yeah.
Oh, Dawn.
So this is the moment where, like, Xander refers to it later as, like, Dawn just immediately, like, handing the crown to Amanda without missing a beat. And it is really powerful. It's like clearly Dawn is the one who has been raised amidst slayers and witches and demons and fighting, because she is like, the only way that you can do this is to, like, do what you do best. So it's clear to me that you're a potential slayer. Go fight them. This is your battle, right? And I've got your back. And she says, I've got your back. Like, I feel like Dawn's analysis of this is correct. And Xander's watching, Buffy's there, and Amanda slays this vamp while Buffy and Spike just put knives through every bringer that's there, except for one. Yeah. Buffy does a fucking sick neck snap on one of those bringers.
Which, I guess, sorry, so the bringers, like, aren't not human enough to, like, trip Spike's chip.
To, like, count?
Yeah.
Oh, Spike's chip.
I think they've
human. Been changed. They began as human, but I think they've been sort of, like, changed on a fundamental level by the first.
Okay.
We just did this wiki lookup in our last episode. I was like, are they humans? What are they?
Something that really stood out to me while they were still in the chemistry lab or whatever class that was, dang, man, we, at least I, went to high school and sat at a desk where there was a thing that I could turn on gas that I could light on fire. And that was just chill.
Is that not true anymore?
Oh, no. I'm saying, like, I mean, it's probably still true, at least in some schools, but it just seems like a totally
wild,
questionable thing. I'm like, they let me sit there with that and also use it sometimes?
I agree completely. I don't understand it. I mean, I did fine. I never exploded anything.
Nobody got hurt, I guess, but...
But, like,
still.
Come on. Please email us if you ever, like, lit your cigarette on a Bunsen burner. I want to know, because you're listening and you want to tell me. And also, if you're in high school, don't you fucking dare. The podcast does not condone doing anything with Bunsen burners, actually, at all. Not even science.
Yeah, that's how you burn your face. Yeah. So don't
burn your face right off.
Don't do that.
Okay. So Amanda is like...
Okay. 1 minute I'm in swing choir. And the next... What the hell's going on?
Amanda's such a great nerd. We've talked about Amanda because obviously this is not the first time we've met her. It's just when we learned that she is a potential, but I just love her. This is also where we learned that she was at the door, right? She was at the door when the spell happened. That's the whole reason for it. Back in the living room, the girls are still trying to have a good time. They are still reaching for fun. They're laughing about their slay 4 helpless girls. Vi's like, no, I just said that we were 4 helpless girls so that I could just make him think we were 4 helpless girls. That was actually totally fine. And basically they're talking about this realization that they had, which is that once it all started, I think it's Rona who's like, once it all started going down, it was like we knew what we were doing. It was like they felt in that moment, they felt that their instincts kicked in, which is important. Like that is really important that you know that in your mind you might not be able to imagine it, but like when it's actually happening, there's something in you that will activate and that will like allow you to fight.
That's also what happened to Dawn.
Yeah.
It's been happening to Dawn.
Nobody's talking about.
I mean, it's fucking been... Dawn's been doing this for at least a season and a half. Dawn's listening at the door and she's feeling sad. And Buffy is like, are you all right? Because Buffy never know. Well, at least she doesn't know at this point. I don't know if she ever finds out because I don't remember anything about this television show. But she doesn't know what happened in Dawn's arc. And Dawn's like, yeah, I'm okay. I'm just going to go like hit the books again. You know, the first is taking a break right now. And like you said, we need to learn everything that we can. And then we get to our last scene.
Xander's having a moment with Dawn because he's seen some things and he's lived some things. And it's good. It's good that he is saying this. I feel like it's not enough. I feel like Dawn still isn't getting like enough credit by the end of this, but he does see. He saw her give it up immediately to Amanda and just tell her like, this is actually your thing and I am here to support you, and that is chill.
Yeah.
And then he makes this he says, they're special, talking about the potentials. They're special, but none of them will ever know, not even Buffy, how much harder it is for the rest of us.
Jenny is making a face, which I think means that she has more to say. But let's play the clip that comes right after that, because Xander says that it's a lot harder for the Xanders and the Dawns of the world than it is for them. And then he continues with this speech. We're going to give you the whole thing because we care.
No way. They've got
7 years, Dawn. Working with the Slayer, seeing my friends get more and more powerful. The witch, a demon. Hell, I could fit Oz in my shaving kit, but come a full moon, he had a wolfy mojo not to be messed with. Powerful. All of them. And I'm the guy who fixes the windows.
Well, you had that sexy army training for a while, and the windows really did need fixing.
I saw what you did last night.
Yeah, I guess I kind of lost my head when I thought I was the Slayer.
No, you thought you were all special. Miss Sunnydale 2003. And the minute you found out you weren't, you handed the crown to Amanda without a moment's pause. You gave her your power.
The power wasn't mine.
They'll never know how tough it is, Donnie. To be the one who isn't chosen. To live so near to the spotlight and never step in it. But I know. I see more than anybody realizes because nobody's watching me. I saw you last night. I see you working here today. You're not special. You're extraordinary.
So, it's a beautiful speech, and I think it's beautiful coming from Xander. I think this is like truly one of the most gracious and loving moments that has passed between Xander and Dawn, and probably the most that anyone has ever really sat with Dawn and like loved her and said, I see you. And it's really great. And from Xander, I expect this because this is Xander's reality. And this is like really what he has lived for the last 7 years. It's really from the rest of the group. It's like, I want everyone to explain to Xander and Dawn that actually they are just as powerful as everyone else. They might not heal, their skin might not heal as quickly. Their bones might not heal as quickly. They might not be able to jump as literally high as a Slayer, but that they are pretty powerful. And Dawn is a fighter, like a true fighter.
Maybe that's what's so frustrating, even though this is like great. What is frustrating is that like for Xander to be the only person who sees and acknowledges this is like, that's just like not enough. And also, respect to Xander. I think he's doing really great this season so far. But Dawn has only existed for, 2.5 seasons, and she has already developed more skills than Xander has in 7 years. Like she has like really like thrown herself into this and applied herself and like worked really hard to get where she is. And she's been taking notes from Buffy for ever since she stopped being a mystical ball of energy, and also she's got the leadership skills to prove it.
Yeah, the idea that she isn't regardless of what we mean when we say special, like the girl was a key. She was a mystical ball.
Yeah.
And she's pretty fucking
she
special.
She open a door between realities.
I know how easy everyone seems to have forgotten that. I'm like, some lingering specialness still. Yeah. Like I don't believe any of this. Like, oh well, Glory's gone. You're not really special anymore. I'm like, actually, yes.
Yeah. she had her memories written into her being by monks. Like, she's definitely not just your average younger sister.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and I will say to anyone that I am not the biggest Xander fan for a variety of reasons. But I think in this episode, like, not only like the importance of what he's saying to Dawn, but like he's like the perfect person to be giving this. And I think that, and even though he really downplays, is like, oh, I'm just the guy that fixes the windows. I'm like, but that is so necessary to have like someone doing that kind of work. Like, how much worse would Buffy and the Potentials and like whatever have felt coming home, back to their home and there was still no window, you know? And I think that the fact that isn't really acknowledged, or like, you know, when he's bringing the donuts in earlier seasons, it's like, you need to be fueling your like late night study, you know, searching, doing the research. Yeah. And like, I mean, it's not like flashy, like magic or like being the chosen one, but that's still like just so important, and just is the kind of things you can do if you're not the chosen one, but you're still choosing to be part of the fight. Is that like you can kind of define the role and like really play your strengths, you know, which is, I think, is overall is like why I really like this episode, because like if Dawn was like, I actually don't want anything to do with what's happening, Buffy would be thrilled. She'd be like, great, you can just go to school, focus on going to college, don't think about fucking vampires and demons in the first, and just like remove yourself. Buffy would be thrilled. But Dawn is making this conscious, like she's making the choice to like enter the fight and like figure out for herself like what like her own powers are, like what her own strengths are, and like what she can bring to the table to the fight, to like, you know, this sort of collective found family against evil, as it were.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
And like, what does that say too about the fact that it doesn't, like, not to undervalue Buffy's power and the Potential's abilities and all of this stuff, but they really do not have a choice. They don't have a choice as to what they're doing. Whereas Xander and Willow and Dawn and, you know, the list continues, have made the choice over Anya. They've made the choice over and over and over and over again to stay. And I think that there's value there that is sort of appreciated, but not appreciated to the level that I think it's owed. Because they could all be doing whatever, you know, like Xander could just be fucking working his construction job and like checking in to see you still alive. You doing okay? We're having dinner at my place on Tuesday.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, he could be just vacationing in Florida, making money hand over fist in in construction, but he's like at your house doing this work for free.
Yes.
And I mean, as we learned in season 6, Buffy, with your copper rebar, whatever, like.
Oh my god!
Like just the importance of that kind of support is like it's so undervalued. And I mean, I think in general, like kind of care work is so undervalued, really.
Yes.
But like, you know, so I think that's kind of why it also feels frustrating that like Dawn and Xander are having this moment, but like no one else is like acknowledging like what Dawn and, to a lesser extent, Xander are like bringing to the group. So, or what they can, like in with Dawn, like what she could be bringing that could like really just like enrich and enhance the experience of like trying to stay alive.
Yeah. And it's like such a bummer that Xander's experience of the whole situation too is just like, yeah, I'm just this guy. Nobody says thanks for fixing the windows, essentially. And
they
like
don't.
keeping headquarters up to speed and secure. What a drag.
Yeah. And you know, you said this, but I just want to like underline it. That like in life, in real life, outside of Sunnydale, care work is undervalued, but so is like work that supports the foundation of functioning and life is so undervalued.
Yeah.
And you know, meanwhile, like people who have flashier jobs or do things that are like fun and interesting and air quotes are really sort of picked up and elevated, whereas the people that make it possible for them to put one foot in front of the other and function in their day-to-day lives are not valued. And you said that, but I just wanted to say it again.
I mean, it's such a super important conversation to have, and I'm like kind of glad that the show is having it in this episode. I mean, season 7, you know, kind of a late time to be having this conversation, but you know, better late than never, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dawn sort of like harkens back to one of the things that Xander has said in this speech, which is that I see more than anyone realizes because no one is watching me. And she says, maybe that's your power, seeing, knowing. And I think we've been saying as much. And I was thinking specifically about, I think it was this season or late last season when Xander made the weapons chest for Buffy. Like he crafted this beautiful, and like he really has, like he has, please, this podcast is a space where we have many an issue with the character of Xander Harris. But this is something that he is really good at doing. He does pay attention and see things where a lot of people do not because they're busy doing X, Y, or Z. And it's just a really sweet moment between the two of them. They have a little cape joke at the end. Maybe I'll get a cape. Yeah. It's very, very Buffy ending, you know, just like a simple little line and then the credits are up.
And then Dawn gets to work before the credits hit.
Yeah.
Just back to it.
Oh, that like really visually made me think of when Buffy, remember the scene that just a few episodes ago, it was like Buffy didn't know what to do because she couldn't help Cassie. And the last cut of that episode is her back at work sitting down. I mean, she's at her like school desk, but like still.
Yeah.
Yeah. Life continues. The first is going to come back someday. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we have some sexy to cover. Some sexiness. Is Rona still here? Rona, are you still here?
She's still in her overalls. You know.
Rona, please join us in the space. We are about to roll into the Sexual Tension Awards.
Sexual Tension Award.
Well, every episode we carefully hand pick 4 sets of noms and shove them into their little slots so that you know who you can vote for in our episodic Sexual Tension Awards. And this episode is, of course, no different. In slot number 1, who amongst us can resist the allure of a gentle touching of the bared stomach of our former lover and current coworker? It's Buffy and Spike.
I just want to tell the listener that I know that in Jenny's house, she has to be a little quieter than usual because we've gone past the 3 p.m. mark that she had. And I just want to say it out loud because I know that our listeners who are used to you shouting everything in the Sexual Tension Award segments are like, Jenny is really subdued. She's keeping a rein on it. She's doing it. She's doing it on purpose. I'm doing a great job.
STASMR, baby. Sometimes I have to use my indoor voice. In slot number 2, beautiful friends. We've all been there. Apologies from me to Noah, my first grade crush, whose shins I mercilessly bloodied over and over again at recess. So sorry, buddy. In that grand tradition, we continue a love story as old as time. It's Amanda and that guy she's been picking on. In slot number 3, I don't think this is going to win, but I think that it was actually Jessie's pick, and I think the listeners are, I think it's going to strike a chord with our beautiful listenership.
Good pick, Jessie.
Sometimes in a young girl's life, she's just out for a walk, at night. And sometimes in a totally other girl's life, she is also out for a walk at night in the same exact area, and they bump into each other, and who knows what could happen. In slot number 3, it's Dawn and Amanda.
I can't believe how many times you said out for a walk and did not say bitch. You know what I mean? It was like incredible.
Not to Dawn and Amanda. I would never.
It's a meet cute bitch. That's what it is. Okay.
And in slot number 4, God bless us, everyone. I'm so pleased with this roundup. In slot number 4, she cannot be contained. She will not deny the attraction that dare not speak its name. It's Rona and Spuffy. It's Rona and the combination of Spike and Buffy. That's, quoth Rona, hot.
If they don't win, I'm firing all of you.
Agree.
Because that shit that's what the Sexual Tension Awards were made for, was that
exactly.
shit. Yeah.
100%. We also just want to shout out our honorable mentions in the slot 5 and slot 6, Dawn and Bunsen burners, and Dawn and sneaking out the dang window. Those are some pretty compelling pairings as well. But please consider casting your vote. Make your voice heard. Find our Sexual Tension Award poll over on our Twitter at BufferingCast. It will be live for 1 week beginning today. And I apologize for not being able to scream at my usual volume. I will be back to yelling next episode for the FTA. Thank you.
7th honorable mention slot is all of us and Jenny not screaming, you know?
Oh, thank you.
Sexual Tension Award.
Okay. This was, I didn't say this at the top, but this was this was a pick by you specifically. We weren't like, Jessie, do you want to be on Potential? It was like, Jessie, here's the episodes we have left. Give us some of your top picks. And Potential was one of your top picks. Is this one of your favorites of the season?
You know, this season is very heavy. It's a very heavy season. And I just like that we get a happy ending. And like a little bit more like Dawn characterization. Because I think that, I don't know, I never thought that Dawn deserved the level of vitriol that people have for her. So... And it's just, I don't know, this episode is like, this feels kind of fun. Like, it's just like a really solid episode to watch.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I agree. And actually, one of Alba's notes was almost exactly that with Dawn, that like we get more of Dawn, the person, the character, than we usually get. And I think that she deserves a lot more of these kinds of episodes and these kind of arcs for who she is in the show.
I can't believe that we haven't drawn this connection yet, but this is basically the Zeppo for Dawn. This is Dawn's the Zeppo.
Yeah, I mean, it's not from like her vantage point, but it is.
Right, but it's like we get to see more of her kicking ass, being in control, and like doing a great job. And also we get to see everybody else not seeing it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like a micro Zeppo within a larger episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a good episode. Dawn fan forever.
I have one more thing, which is, according to one of the Buffy wikis, usually the 12th episode of the season is dedicated to Buffy's birthday, which we do not see here. So maybe this year Buffy just decided to not celebrate her birthday.
Which honestly would be probably a smart move for her, because every time she tries to celebrate, it never ends well.
Yeah, I think if she would have had like a birthday party, Dawn would have been a potential. I think that's just how. It's like Murphy's Law or something. So good going, Buffy.
Good job, Buffy. Yes, credit to Buffy for not celebrating her birthday. Fucking finally. Well, Jessie, can you tell our listeners where they can learn more about you and find your work and all of those good things?
Yeah. So folks can find the Gaily Prophet and Escape from Reality, where escape is ESGAYPE.
Escape.
Escape. You can find that wherever people listen to podcasts. And then we're also on Twitter and Instagram at the Gaily Prophet. And then all of our information about all the other stuff that we do is on our website, #ruthless.com.
And the Buffy podcast is on your Patreon, right?
It's on our Patreon. Yeah, it's patreon.com/the Gaily Prophet. And because we are anti-capitalist dirtbags, if you are subscribed at any level, you get all of our Patreon offerings. So
amazing.
Yeah.
Get your little Scooby butts on over there. Season 4, beginning with season 4.
Beginning with season 4. We're a couple episodes away from the end of season 4. We release each episode on the full moon, so extra witchy.
Oh my god. That's incredible.
So yeah, we'll be like a couple of episodes away from the end of season 4. So
amazing.
So if you want to hear a lot of surprising amount of Riley content.
I know, I'll be
Jenny is like,
racing.
you can hear the
I'll
clicking
running,
of
not
her
walking.
keys. Jenny's signing up right now while we're recording.
Yeah. And a lot of talk about how Forrest is in love with Riley. You should definitely check us out.
Oh my god, they're so in love.
Agree.
It's so beautiful.
Agree.
Or it could have been so beautiful.
I know.
7 out of 7 Buffy podcasts agree. Forrest is clearly in love with Riley.
Yep.
Wow. Thank you for being here. This ruled. It was so great to have you.
So much.
This is so excellent. I'm glad that our schedules, the stars finally aligned for our schedules to work
We've
out.
been trying to do this. We've been trying to do this for at least 2 seasons, you know? We really have been. Gosh. We've worked hard. All right, Jenny, tell them who you are.
What? Thank you so much for asking. I am Jenny Owen Youngs. When I'm not watching Buffy, I am writing and recording and sometimes performing music. I'll tell you what, I have a brand new song out today, if you don't mind. It's called Ghosts, and it's from my forthcoming EP, It's Dangerous to Go Alone, which is a collection of songs all inspired by different video games that'll be coming out June 10th. And I wrote Ghosts with friend of the pod, Rishikesh Hirway. You might remember him, and he's featured on the song as well. I also want to mention that Rishi and I have our West Coast tour dates starting this Sunday, May 8th, if you can believe it. You can find links for tickets and show info and links to music and everything pretty much about me at jennyowenyoungs.com. And you can find me on socials at Jenny Owen Youngs.
I'll think about it. I'll think about finding
Thanks,
you.
Kristin.
My name is Kristin Russo, and you can learn more about the work that I do with LGBTQ communities and specifically the talks that I do at workplaces, virtually and in person, on my website, KristinNoeline.com. That's KristinNoeline. And you can also use that spelling to find me on Twitter and on Instagram if you would like. And, you can tweet at me if you want to know what ghosts I think Jenny is writing about. Is it the ghost?
Wow.
Is it the ghost from Pac-Man? It is the ghost from Pac-Man?
Nailed it. First guess. Way to go.
Nailed it. I probably had it stored away somewhere already in the back of my mind. But I still feel victorious because I forget what I know. Cool. What about us as a duo?
Oh, Buffering the Vampire Slayer is on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at BufferingCast. And you can drop us an email at bufferingthevampireslayer@gmail.com.
You can support us if you'd like on Patreon. We are patreon.com/bufferingcast, and everything that you need to know about us you can find on our website, bufferingthevampireslayer.com. And I think, Jessie, are you feeling in the mood to howl out with us?
I am.
That is such good news. I guess this whole little cluster of things I'm about to say culminates, peaks, crescendos to our howl. So buckle thyself. This episode was produced by Kristin Russo, Jenny Owen Youngs, and Alba Daza, with support from our consultant, Mackenzie MacDade. It was edited by John Mark Nelson and Jessie, Kristin. Dear listeners, till next time. I think I made myself sound like a ghost because we were talking about ghosts moments ago.
Ghost
Just
wolves.
2 wolves and a ghost.
Festive.
Get out of the basement and into the cemetery. Learning to trust your instincts and also to not make out with vampires is lesson number 1. Do as I say, not as I do.
S is for stakes that go through the heart. L is for loving the death is your art. A is for always watching your back. Why? So you don't wind up a vamp sack.
Demon bar. Yak urine shots all around. Remember, this is a place you need to keep your guard up, even if you run into an old pal who TiVo'd you something on the History Channel, okay?
S is for stakes that made out of wood. L is for low pay like no livelihood. A is for apocalypse like right now. Why? Because you're on the freaking hell mouth.
Tour of the demonic nooks and crannies of Sunnydale is this fabulous crypt, home to a whole nest of vampires. Know your enemy and know their habitat, and they're less likely to know the taste of your lifeblood. And hey, you guys totally got this. Good luck!
S is for stakes which are very high. L is for this lair where I hope you don't die. A is for all of the demons you'll be. Why? Because you're all a lot like me. Oh, you already know. You already know. Oh, I'm gonna show you what you got in your bones. What you got in your bones. What you got in your bones. Oh, you already know. What you got in your bones.
Welcome to the small town of Chinook, where faith runs deep and secrets run deeper. In this new thriller, religion and crime collide when a gruesome murder rocks the isolated Montana community. Everyone is quick to point their fingers at a drug-addicted teenager, but local deputy Ruth Vogel isn't convinced. She suspects connections to a powerful religious group. Enter federal agent V.B. Lauro, who has been investigating a local church for possible criminal activity. The pair form an unlikely partnership to catch the killer, unearthing secrets that leave Ruth torn between her duty to the law, her religious convictions, and her very own family. But something more sinister than murder is afoot, and someone is watching Ruth. Chinook, starring Kelly Marie Tran and Sanaa Lathan. Listen to Chinook wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, a co-founder of the Go Kid Go Network. At Go Kid Go, putting kids first is at the heart of every show that we produce. That's why we're so excited to introduce a brand new show to our network called The Search for the Silver Lining, a fantasy adventure series about a spirited young girl named Isla who time travels to the mythical land of Camelot. During her journey, Isla meets new friends, including King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table, and learns valuable life lessons with every quest, sword fight, and dragon ride. Positive and uplifting stories remind us all about the importance of kindness, friendship, honesty, and positivity. Join me and an all-star cast of actors including Liam Neeson, Emily Blunt, Kristen Bell, Chris Hemsworth, among many others, in welcoming the Search for the Silver Lining podcast to the Go Kid Go network by listening today. Look for the Search for the Silver Lining on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.